Hello dear students and welcome to my YouTube channel, that is My English Teacher. Dear students, today in this video we are going to study the short story written by O. Henry, and the name of the story is The Cope and the Anthem. So let us begin the story. Soapy moved restlessly on his seat in Madison Square. There are certain signs to show that the winter is coming. Birds begin to fly south. People want new warm coats. And Soapy moves restlessly on his seat in the park. When you see these signs, you know that the winter is near. A dead leaf fell at Soapy's feet. That was a special sign for him that the winter was coming. It was a time for all who lived in the Madison Square to prepare for the upcoming winter season. Soapy now realized that the fact that the time had come. He had to find some way to take care of himself during the cold weather, and therefore he moved restlessly on his seat. Soapy's hopes for the winter were not very high. He was not thinking of sailing away on the ship. He was not thinking of the southern skies or of the Bay of Naples. 3 months in the prison on the Black Whale's Island was what he wanted. 3 months of food every day and a bed every night. 3 months safe from the cold north wind and safe from the copes. This is what Soapy wanted most in the world. For years, Black Whale's Island had been his winter home. Richer New Yorkers made their plans to go to Florida or to shore of the Mediterranean Sea each winter, and Soapy made his small plans for going to the island. And now the time had come. 3 big newspapers, some under his coat and some over his legs, had not kept him warm during the night in the park. So Soapy was thinking of the island. There were places in the city he could go and ask for food and bed. These would be given to him. He could move from one building to another, and he would be taken care of through the winter. But he liked Black Whale's Island. Soapy's spirit was proud. If he went to any of these places, there were certain things he had to do. In one way or another, he would have to pay for what they gave him. They would not ask him for money, but they would make him wash his whole body. They would make him answer questions. They would want to know everything about his life. No prison was better than that. The prison had the rules that he would have to follow. But in prison, a gentleman's own life was still his own life. Soapy, having decided to go to the island, at once began to move towards his desire. There were many easy ways of doing this. The most pleasant way was to go and have a good dinner at some fine restaurant. Then he would say that he had no money to pay, and then a cope would be called. It would all be done very quietly. The cook would arrest him, he would be taken to a judge, the judge would do the rest. Soapy left his seat and walked slowly out of the Madison Square to the place where the great street called Broadway and the Fifth Avenue meet. He went across this wide space and started north on Broadway. He stopped at a large and brightly lighted restaurant. This was where the best food and the best people in the best clothes appeared every evening. Soapy believed that above his legs he looked all right. His face was clean. His coat was good enough. If he could get to a table, he believed that the success would be his. The part of him that would be seen above the table would look all right. The waiter would bring him what he asked for. He began thinking of what he would like to eat. In his mind, he could see the whole dinner. The cost would not be too high. He did not want the restaurant people to feel any real anger. But the dinner would leave him filled and happy for the journey to his winter home. But as Soapy put his foot inside the restaurant door, the head waiter saw his broken old shoes and the torn clothes that covered his legs. So his strong and ready hands turned Soapy around and moved him quietly and quickly outside again. Soapy turned off Broadway. It seemed that the most easy way was to the island was not to be his. He must think of some other way of getting there. At a corner of the 6th Avenue was a shop with a wide glass window, bright with electric lights. Soapy picked up a big stone and threw it through the glass. People came running around the corner. A cop was the first among them. Soapy stood still and he smiled when he saw the cop. He was friendly and happy. What he wanted was coming towards him. Where is the man that did it? But the cop's mind, don't you think that I might have done it? Asked Soapy. But the cop's mind would not consider Soapy. Men who break windows do not stop there to talk to the cops. They run away as fast as they can. The cop saw a man further along the street running and ran after him. And Soapy, sick at heart, walked slowly. He had failed 2 times. Across the street was another restaurant. It was not so fine as the one Broadway. The people who went there were not so rich. Its food was not so good. Into this Soapy took his old shoes and his torn clothes. and no one stopped him. He sat down at the table and was soon eating a big dinner. When he had finished, he said that he had no money. He called the waiter, and the waiter called the other. The two waiters threw Soapy upon his left ear on the hard street outside. He stood up slowly, one part at a time, and beat the dust from his clothes. Prison seemed only a happy dream. The island seemed very far away. A cope was standing near, laughed and walked away. Soapy started moving again. When he stopped, he was near several theatres. In this part of the city, streets were brighter and hearts are more joyful than in other parts. Women and men in rich warm coats moved happily in the winter air. But a sudden fear caught Soapy, and he felt no cope was going to arrest him. He began to shout as if he had too much to drink. His voice was as loud as he could make it. He danced, he cried out, and the cope turned his back to Soapy. "It's one of those college boys. He won't hurt anything. We have orders to let them shout." Soapy was quiet. Was no cope going to touch him? He began to think of the island as if it were as far away as a star. He pulled his thin coat around him. The wind was very, very cold. Then he saw a man in a shopping shop buying a newspaper. The man's umbrella stood beside the door. Soapy stepped inside the shop, took the umbrella, and walked slowly away. The man followed him quickly. "My umbrella, give it!" "Oh, is it? Why don't you call a cope? I took it, your umbrella," Soapy said. "There is one standing at the corner. Call him," Soapy told the man. The man walked more slowly. Soapy did the same, but he had a feeling that he was going to fail again. The cook looked at the two men. That is, you know how these things happen. If it is your umbrella, I am very, very sorry," the man said to Soapy. "I found it this morning in a restaurant. If you say it's yours, I hope you will." The umbrella man hurried away. The cope helped a lady across the street. Soapy walked east. He threw the umbrella as far as he could throw it. He talked to himself about copes and what he thought of them, because he wished to be arrested. They seemed to believe he was like a king who could do no wrong. At last, Soapy came to one of the quiet streets on the side of the street of the city. He turned here and began to walk south towards Madison Square. He was going home, although home was only a seat in a park, but a very quiet corner. Soapy stopped. Here was his old childhood home. Through one window, he could see a soft light shining. That had been his living room, where he had spent many happy, peaceful moments. Sweet music came to Soapy's ears and seemed to hold him there. The moon was above, peaceful and bright. Dear students, I feel Soapy was an orphan child, and the building in front of which Soapy was standing was an orphanage, and so Soapy remembered his childhood days. There were few people passing. He could hear birds high above him, and the music that came from the rooms held Soapy there, for he had known it well long ago. In those days, his life contained such things as mothers and flowers and high hopes and friends and clean thoughts and clean clothes. There was a sudden and a wonderful change in his soul. He saw with sick fear how he had fallen. He saw his worthless days, his wrong desires, his dead hopes, the lost power of his mind, and also in a moment his heart answered. This changed in his soul. He would fight to change his life. He would pull himself up out of the mud. He would make a man of himself. There was a time he was young enough. He would find his old purpose in life and follow it. That sweet music had changed him. Tomorrow he would find work. A man had once offered him a job. He would find that man tomorrow. He would be somebody in the world. He would be. Soapy felt a hand on his arms. He looked quickly around into the broad face of a cope. What are you doing? Hanging around here? Nothing. You think I believe that? Come along with me. Full of his new strength, Soapy began to argue. And it is not wise to argue with a New York cope. The judge said, 3 months prison on Blackwell's Island. So dear students, I hope you have understood the story, The Cope and the Anthem, written by O. Henry. Thank you for watching my channel and please do subscribe our channel. Thank you.